Welcome back, Science, Mr. Robertson time once again, and today's topic is going to be cells. We're moving into the human body, or in fact, every living thing. If we start off and we go back in time to the very start of life, then we find there's some chemicals that for some reason like to make copies of themselves. So we get more of the same chemicals, and they want to be together, and eventually there's a bunch of chemicals that build a little shell around them. We can call it single-celled bacteria. The first kind of life we had on Earth. Now, we don't know why, we don't know how, but there's lots of bacteria still living today, and there are also lots of creatures that are made up of more than one of these cells. Things like us, things like all the animals we know, lots of the plants. I was saying multicelled bacteria, sorry, multicelled life. For some reason, some of these started working together, and that's what we have. But it all came from this, the start of life was just a few chemicals who built a shell around them for some reason. But cells are still today how every body and every single living thing is made up. Cells can be small. Of course, there's billions of them on us right here. And we have cells that are very different sizes. But most of them you can see under a microscope. So you can see most of them, and you can get the information about how they're built up. Here we got to talk about, of course, what happens in every cell and about the different things that we see inside of them. Of course, it's very important to remember that all of these cells, they need energy. And to get energy, they do the process called respiration, förbränning. Remember that, of course, they need glucose and oxygen for making the energy. Never spell that word right, it's really a shame. And of course, CO2 and water are made as well. Remember that equation? I keep going on about it, we keep needing to learn it. Now, let me go back to a cell. And in the world, there are generally two different types of cells. Two big divisions that happened that you need to know about. There's plants and animals. And they have the basic kind of cell, the same. The animal is more simple. I'm going to start with that. My animal cell has a rough, non-uniform outline. It is called a cell membrane. This here controls what goes in and out. It is your wall, it is your passport control. Only the right things get in or out. Inside, of course, the most famous part of a cell is the section in the middle. It is called the nucleus. Some people call the nucleus the brain of the cell. I don't like that because a nucleus doesn't actually think. What it does though, the nucleus, it stores all the DNA. All of the genetic information is kept in that nucleus. Also, there's a chemical around here, and a chemical that is called a cytoplasm. Horrible word, I apologize. And in the cytoplasm, But this here, this is where the chemical reactions happen. It's in the space where any reactions like respiration, they've got to take place in the actual bit outside of the cell, not in the nucleus and not by the membrane. The animal cell is quite simple. If I move across to look at the plant, well, the plant has all those three things. So my plant cell will have a nucleus, it has a cytoplasm, and it has a cell membrane. All of those three things are the same. However, it also has a stronger thing on the outside we call a cell wall. As I said, it's stronger. And quite a lot of what a plant cell actually is about is making sure it actually has strength. Plants don't move very easily, need to be stronger in their structure instead. As well as that, there's usually a big thing, horrible word, called the vacuole. The vacuole is filled with liquid to help it stand. Basically, plants have lots of water, extra liquid will go into all their cells, make them go, so they stand up really straight. If there's not enough water, it's hard for the plant to stand up. So the vacuole is a very important adaptation that the plant has. And the final one is, of course, it has things, and I have been really... Oh, it's over here. I have one. And you find these especially in the leaf because they're green. These are the parts which are called, of course, the chlorophyll. And as important as respiration might be, chlorophyll is going to be where photosynthesis takes place. Hold on. Big mistake. Let me start again. They're not called chlorophyll, they are called the chloroplasts. That is where photosynthesis happens, and they contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the material that can misspell words. I mean, it will catch the sunlight. So the plant cell is a little more complex with those extra three things, but no, basically it's to try and get more energy. Stand up straight, get more sunlight, catch it with the chloroplasts. Two more parts of cells I will mention right now. We have something called mitochondria. Mitochondria. These are the parts that are involved in the production of energy. So what that means is, if you, for example, are a muscle cell, you're going to have lots of mitochondria in you so you can get as much energy as possible. Also, a sperm cell has to swim for such a long way to try and find the egg. So sperm are usually packed of mitochondria too. The other thing to mention is something called a ribosome. Now, ribosomes are very clever. We do a lot of work on them later on in the course. They take the DNA code. Remember, your genetics is just a code that says what bits of protein you want, and it takes that code to make proteins for the cell. So whatever different type of thing you need, it's going to be the ribosome that actually, all the bits of DNA come and it goes, need this thing here, need that thing next, need that thing next. It basically reads the DNA code so you can actually make something useful with it. And that's probably enough for now. Thank you very much.